Hello and welcome to Daily Prelims Practice, a series of videos where we take up important news articles from Indian Express and The Hindu and put it right across in the form of multiple choice questions to prepare you for the current affairs and static portion of the prelims examination. Today we have taken up Delhi edition of The Hindu and Indian Express dated 10th of March 2023. Let's now begin the discussion. So the first practice MCQ that we have taken is inspired from a news which has appeared in the Indian Express. What happens if you don't link PAN and ADHAAR by March 31st? So the Central Board of Direct Taxes has asked all taxpayers to link their permanent account number with their ADHAAR by March 31st, 2023. And this is being done to avoid any kind of duplication. So duplication basically means that there are a lot of people, let's say person 1, who holds a lot of PAN numbers. So PAN 1, PAN 2, PAN 3, and this is problematic because permanent account number itself means that each person will have only one PAN through which the government is going to track his or her financial assets. Apart from that, there are a lot of cases of reverse instances where single PAN account has been issued to a number of people, person 1, person 2 and person 3, and this is again problematic. And so to avoid any such kind of discrepancy, and so in order to avoid both these discrepancies, it has been made mandatory to link all the PAN with respective ADHAAR by March 31st. Now, if you're wondering how is this relevant for UPSC Civil Services Prelims examination, the question which was asked in 2019 Prelims examination could be pertinent. Where UPSC had asked question related to features of ADHAAR. ADHAAR metadata cannot be stored, state cannot enter into any contract with private corporation for sharing ADHAAR data, ADHAAR is mandatory for obtaining insurance products, and ADHAAR is mandatory for getting benefits funded out of Consolidated Fund of India. So you can see that UPSC has already tested basic features of ADHAAR not just in 2019 but before that also, and hence since permanent account number or PAN is in news, one MCQ on it is important. Consider the following statements regarding permanent account number. Statement 1, it has 12 character alphanumeric unique number, which is of course incorrect because PAN is not 12 but 10 character alphanumeric unique number. Second statement is correct, minors are eligible to get PAN card. Third statement, which is it is mandatory to link PAN and ADHAAR card in order to do transaction in security market, is also correct. Because SEBI has instructed investors to link their PAN with their ADHAAR by the end of this month to continue doing transaction in securities market. So now it has become mandatory, and hence the right answer is B, 2 and 3 only. The next topic of discussion is UNHCR or United Nations Refugee Agency. And this has come into news because of UK Prime Minister's very strong observation statement to pass a new law dealing with illegal migration that effectively stops the granting of asylum to migrants who reach the UK illegally. Now this is problematic because it contravenes UNHCR and its laws. And it is problematic because United Kingdom is a signatory to UNHCR. And once you become signatory to an international convention, following its principles becomes obligatory on you. And so you cannot form any law which contravenes UNHCR. Now from the perspective of prelims examination, important international conventions must be revised and UNHCR is one of them. And if you look at the precedents, in 2019 itself UPSC had asked a question on United Nations Convention Against Corruption. And if you look at the statement, the intention of UPSC was to test the basic information with respect to UNCSE, its protocol, whether it is legally binding or not, what are its highlighting features, and its relationship with some of the other important United Nations agency. Right answer in this case was of course C, but we have framed a question for you. With a reference to United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, consider the following statements. Statement 1, it was created after the First World War to help millions of Europeans who had fled or lost their homes. So the question for today is with respect to United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Consider the following statements. Statement 1, It was created in 1920 to help millions of Europeans who had fled or lost their homes. Now, if you look at this particular statement, there are two things which can go wrong. First is the date, 1920, and the second is the purpose because of which it was created. Now, in this case, this date is wrong because UNHCR was created in 1950 to help millions of Europeans who had fled or lost their homes. So basically, it was created after the Second World War and not after the First World War. It is true that it is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, and it is also true that the 1951 Refugee Convention and its 1967 Protocol are the key legal documents that form the basis of work performed by UNHCR. Hence, the right answer would be D, 2 and 3 only. The article "Can the cheetahs help India's grasslands?" has inspired the next question that we are going to take. So as you know that cheetahs have been reintroduced into our country from Africa. But the efforts by Government of India with respect to cheetah resurrection in India has led to two kinds of views emerging from the specialists who deal with environment and environment conservation. First is that they believe that the kind of cheetah reintroduction and the way it is being reintroduced into our country will definitely lead to creation of a viable and sustainable population into our country. But at the same time, there is another view which has emerged which says that the kind of efforts we have put into cheetahs reintroduction into our country is more likely to fail because India's grasslands cannot be compared with the grasslands in Africa. And one of the obvious reasons is that India does not have the kind of grasslands Africa has, which is natural to the African cheetah. Apart from that, the kind of prey base the sanctuaries have to offer in India is very, very low as compared to what is naturally required to create a sustainable population of cheetah. And even if you know a little bit about previous year questions, you know that UPSC's favorite topic is the species, especially extinct, likely to be extinct, vulnerable, or critically endangered species. For example, this question in 2019 dealt with three important species: Asiatic lion and its habitat, double-hemmed camel and its habitat, one-horned rhinoceros and its habitat. The right answer in this case was of course A, one only, because double-humped camel is naturally found not just in India but across the border also. One-horned rhinoceros is naturally not only found in India, but let us know in the comment section what are the other countries where it is found. And so we have formulated a question on cheetah. Statement 1, the natural habitat of cheetah is now only restricted to southern, eastern and northwestern Africa. Now, if you look at this particular statement, what could go wrong here? The fact that natural habitat of cheetah could extend beyond southern, eastern and northwestern Africa, or it could include some part of Asia as well. Now, since the word is written only, you should be cautious. Whenever there is a word in a statement only or all, you should read it carefully. And if you look at the current habitat of cheetah, it is also found in Iran, which was the place where we were earlier thinking of importing cheetahs from. And so it's just not southern, eastern and northwestern Africa, but also Iran, and hence this statement is incorrect. Second statement, globally, this species is considered critically endangered in the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species is also incorrect. Because globally, this species is considered vulnerable in the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species with a declining extant population, which is current population of less than 7,000 individuals found primarily in savannas of Africa. And so, which of the statement given above are correct? The answer would be D, neither one nor two. This next question has been taken from an editorial which is quite unusual, and rightly so, the India-Australia relationship, where the author has summarized the multi-dimensional relationship which India and Australia share, from economic cooperation, people-to-people ties, education, defense cooperation and cooperation on clean energy. Now, usually when you read an article like this, the first thing which comes to the mind is India and its relationship with developed countries, Australia being a developed country, and this article from here to there offers very crisp notes on India-Australia relationship. But UPSC, being unpredictable public service commission, can also go into questioning India-Australia relationship even at the prelim stage. For example, in 2018, there were a list of countries given and you were asked to identify which of the above were among the free trade partners of ASEAN nations. And this is, of course, a question which was motivated because India back then was negotiating RCEP, or Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which eventually India did not sign. And so RCEP was nothing but ASEAN plus Australia, China, India and Japan, and so leaving out 2 and 6. So the right answer, of course, was C. And so we have formulated a question on India-Australia relationship. Consider the following statements with respect to the relationship. Statement 1. Exercise Talisman Sabre is a biennial military exercise led by Australia, United States of America and India. Now this statement, of course, is incorrect, because Exercise Talisman Sabre is a biennial multinational military exercise led by Australia and US and not India. So the first statement is incorrect. Whereas the second statement, India and Australia have recently signed a mechanism for mutual recognition of qualifications, is of course correct, because these two nations have signed framework mechanism for mutual recognition of qualifications. And it is going to go a long way in helping the mobility of students and professionals between the two countries. If you do a BCom here, it does not get recognized as a degree in commerce in Australia. And this is now going to happen for a lot of technical qualifications, which is going to obviously ease the mobility of Indians and Australians in each other's countries. Third statement, under the mechanism for mutual recognition of qualifications, the two countries will recognize the degrees and professional registrations of engineering, medicine and law pass-outs, is incorrect, because while the two countries will recognize the degrees, professional registrations of engineering, medicine and law pass-outs will remain outside the framework of this particular agreement. So you can see that when it comes to which of the statements given above are incorrect, first is incorrect, third is incorrect, and hence the right answer, of course, would be B, 1 and 3 only. The next question that we have taken takes its inspiration from page number 1's this news article, which talks about the new law which the government is going to bring in order to regulate the internet, and especially the freedom of speech and expression on internet. And in this particular article, a very particular term, safe harbor, has been used. UPSC has this peculiar tendency of asking terms which are sometimes seen in news. For example, merchant discount rate was asked in 2018, to which the right answer was C. And so we have designed a question for you. Which one of the following best describes the term safe harbor sometimes seen in news? It is a creation of violence-free zone within jurisdictions for business activities, which is of course incorrect. It is the principle that so-called intermediaries on the internet are not responsible for what third parties post on their website, is the correct answer, whereas C and D are incorrect.